stay tuned because for the next 60 minutes, Motorsports Unlimited is on the air. Hi, I'm Jerry Bryant, and these are the lovely ladies of motorsports. And all this hour, we're going to have 60 minutes of action-packed excitement. All kinds of exciting things will happen. And we got the famous Bill Wildt, and we got all kinds of other good stuff that's happening all this hour. Motorsports Unlimited, 60 minutes of non-stop action. So let's go to the studio right now.
Thanks, Jerry, and hi, everybody. Welcome to the studio headquarters of Chicagoland's most watched, most talked about Access television series. I'm Samantha Bentley, and this is the 1158th edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Today, we're taking you on another motorcycle road trip. Bill's following up on an idea he had in 2006 when he attended something called Vintage Days to cover the history of the MV Agusta motorcycle, which happened to be the featured brand that year. He couldn't help but notice, while looking for the MV Agusta display, the incredible number of vintage motorcycles of every description people brought or rode to the event. He thought it would be a perfect place to detail the technical evolution of motorcycles over the decades, because there seemed to be examples of everything within easy reach. He made a mental note at the time that if our production schedule would ever allow it, he would return and take advantage of the opportunity. 2009's dismal economy and subsequent car show cancellations proved to be a blessing in disguise and provided us with an open weekend to give it a try. Of course, you know Bill. He keeps his eyes open for interesting things along the way, and he found something special this time too. Of course, you also know, as always, he'll be late getting underway.
Well, this is going to have to be brief. I might have really done it to myself this time with this not being able to get underway. I've been trying to get underway for the past 4 or 5 hours, actually since about noon, and it's now 4:30, maybe 4:45, and I think I'm finally ready. Only problem is I've been worried about rain all day, and 15 minutes ago a little shower went through. I don't know if you can see the droplets on the seat here. Right now it's not raining, but I see real darkness in the sky. I am going to try to run from the rain and get underway. You'd think I'd learn.
Yes, Bill, that's exactly what I would think. How can you be late, hours late, every time you leave on a motorcycle road trip? Oh, well, there must be more to it than we think. Hi, I'm Janine Lauschat, and believe it or not, as late as it was, it still took him another half hour to actually get underway.
Well, finally off and running. I can't believe it. There has got to be a better way to go on trips than the way I do it. Hours and hours late every time. Just amazing. All the things that have to be taken care of, all the incidentals. I've been through it before, so I won't go through it again now. The medication needs, you got to make sure you have money on you and all the rest of it. But worse than that, well, there I see some bright sky up there. We just had a shower go through. I see some bright sky. I don't know if the audience can see it. It was really dark here 10-15 minutes ago. I swear it was going to come down like crazy. But whatever it is, it is. I'm just leaning forward here, checking the time. It's 20 minutes after 5. I can't believe it. 20 minutes after 5. I wanted to leave at noon. encouraging sign. It's kind of dark overhead where I am, but looking off to the west, it looks like pretty bright, clear skies. So maybe, just maybe, I'm going to miss the rain.
Bill found himself headed south on Mannheim Road. Because he was leaving so late and worried about rain, he decided his best bet would be to use the interstate. Hi, I'm May Chin. Let's join him.
Well, we're approaching 290 and still off to the left. I don't know if the audience can see that off to the left. The sky is still quite dark. I can't look that long there, folks. I have to watch where I'm going to. It is a helmet cam. Still looks very dark off to the left. I don't know if it's just trying to scare me or if the weather is swirling around. Normally we would have the weather, if you look off toward the, right now we're looking kind of southwest. In a moment we'll be looking directly west. And directly west it still looks kind of bright. Maybe the audience can see it now. This is pretty much directly west. And you can see the sky is kind of bright there, but for some reason the clouds seem to be coming from the east, and that's not really possible unless it's badly swirling weather. Maybe it's just trying to scare me.
took 294 south to 394 south, which he took for a couple of miles until he found US 30 east. Route 30 would take him almost directly to his ultimate destination, the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, but he had something else in mind first. After traveling about 125 miles, he found himself in Plymouth, Indiana. Hi, I'm Amber Alvarado. By now, it was quite dark, and Bill wanted to check out something in Plymouth in the morning. So he found a motel, and after a good night's sleep, he was ready to get started on today's adventure.
All right, folks, I made it to Plymouth, Indiana, and this was one of the places I wanted to stop at because of the Plymouth Speedway. Interesting little story. I kind of like to think that I've raced at every track in the Midwest, paved, dirt, ovals, road race tracks, but I must admit, it's hard to believe. It's been about 20 years since my racing days, and there are tracks either opening now or tracks that I really didn't hear of before that I haven't raced on. Gingerman is one that has been developed since my racing days, so I haven't raced there. And Plymouth Speedway, when I was going to a couple of the road trips we've taken, I passed the sign on the highway that said Plymouth Speedway. I says, I don't know Plymouth Speedway. I've raced at Steuben, which is a track in Indiana. I think it must be around here somewhere. And I've raced at South Bend Speedway, which I understand is no more. But Plymouth is a new one on me, and I kind of wanted to take a look at it to see what it was all about. And then even more interesting, we do the show at the Rock every year, and last winter on Thanksgiving morning, as we typically do at the Rock, anybody that shows up, and just in case you don't know what it is, the Rock is the monument to America's first auto race on Chicago's lakefront, right behind the Museum of Science and Industry. And every Thanksgiving morning to commemorate what was done there in 1895, which started motorsports in America for all of us, we go down there with our camera from 9 until noon, and anybody that shows up, we put them on camera. And one of the people that showed up was a fellow that apparently owns the Plymouth Speedway. And I started talking to him about it, and I said, you know what? I've got to stop by there one of these days. So I decided on this trip, I'm going to see if I can find the track. So I made my way on the first day. I know I should get up earlier, and I should have made a lot more distance. This is only about 125 miles from Chicago, whatever. I'm here. I got here. This is where I wanted to stop, and so that in the morning, and by the way, to me, morning is, Chicago time, it's 9:51, so let's call it 10 o'clock, but it's actually 11 o'clock Indiana time because I had to check out quick. I didn't want to pay for another day. So from here, I'm going to see if I can find the Plymouth Speedway.
Bill always manages to make an adventure out of a motorcycle road trip. As I understood it, he was going to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for something called Vintage Days. As he explained it, it was an opportunity to review the technical evolution of motorcycles over the decades, because so many people attended with vintage motorcycles. It doesn't appear Plymouth Speedway plays a role in the evolution of motorcycles. On the other hand, I know Bill, and he doesn't believe in a rigid schedule on a motorcycle road trip. Plymouth Speedway interests him, and he sees this as an opportunity to check it out. Let's see if he can find it.
Oh, this must be the house cleaning staff. I'm sure they're glad to see me go. I'm always the last one to check out. I'm sorry. I'm also the last one to check in at night. I guess that wouldn't really help them, though. What are you going to do? I'm a late riser, but I go well into the night. Anyway, beautiful day. Indiana time, 10 o'clock. So this is really an early start for me. Now they tell me if I go out here, make a right-hand turn. And by the way, I've gotten 10 different sets of directions for people already telling me how to get to the speedway. So I don't know if anybody really knows, but I'm going to try this. They tell me to go out here and make a right turn. And then I should almost stay on stay right here because I have to make another immediate right turn. See, they didn't know the names, but that looks like 17 South in Plymouth. So, I'll try it. Plymouth right, but Plymouth is to the left, and the lady said to go right through the town of Plymouth. I'm a little bit skeptical because I asked where I ate last night too, and they have a different set of directions. So I'll give it a try. This woman seemed to know. She seemed more confident in her direction. So let's see if this is the right way. Now, according to the lady, I have to go right through the town of Plymouth. I don't know how big Plymouth is. Must be a fairly large town because I see here in the center we've got these decorative center islands with landscaping in there, which would indicate to me the town must have landscaping people working for the town, so that would strike me as Plymouth might be a pretty big town. We'll see. As our regular viewers know, it doesn't bother me at all to take you along in all my mistakes. Pretty little town though. I'm watching the gas stations and repair shops to see if I see a stock car or something sitting out in front that would give me an indication I'm headed in the right direction. Haven't seen anything yet. Really interesting architecture. Almost harkens back to another time, but on the other hand, it looks like it's been recently restored. I would feel a lot better about where I was going if I could spot something that looked race car or race motorcycle like. I've been kind of watching the people's homes and garages and driveways to see if I see anything. I haven't seen anything yet. Very pretty town though. I'm going in the right direction. I keep scanning the houses, as I said, looking for a stock car or something in the yard or behind a house. Visiting Plymouth. Oh, there was a sign that just said I'm leaving Plymouth. And yet the speedway is in Plymouth. Well, I'm not going to give up that easy. Wait a minute, there I see something on the right. Ah, yes, it looks like a track. I can only see the tops of the buildings. I'm going to make it right here. It's got to be right here. Got to be right here. Yes, sir, here we go. Plymouth Speedway, racing is back. Boy, I hope those nice houses we just passed don't get any closer. They're going to have nothing but trouble keeping the place open. Oh, this is pretty out here. Yes, as I said, this is pretty out here. Don't exactly know where you go in. If I can figure it out. Feeling somebody's going to stop me pretty soon. I love these world tracks. I'm telling you, do yourself a favor before all these rural tracks are gone. I guess I can get off here. Before all these rural tracks are gone, really treat yourself. Make it a project during the course of the summer or several summers of visiting all of the local short tracks that are around, whether we're talking about Slinger, Wisconsin, or LaSalle Speedway or Ileana. Make sure you treat yourself before these places. These places are wonderful, but as you can see, there's some really beautiful homes being built very close around here. Boy, I don't know. Anyhow, let's see if I can find somebody.
Bill spotted a man cutting the grass who knew something about the track. Let's meet him.
Well, believe it or not, I found somebody here, and they're not having races tonight. I kind of wonder why no one was here when I pulled in, because I would think Friday night would be a race night, but they don't race Friday nights, at least not typically on Friday nights. Their race night is Saturday night, but I did find somebody that can tell us about the track, and you are.
Yeah, Lauren Heen,
And where are you from?
Argus. I live a couple miles south of here.
And it looks like you do some of the work of keeping this place looking pretty.
Yeah, cut the grass, pick up the trash, and maintenance work, and stuff like
Well,
that.
let me be the first to congratulate you. You do a beautiful job. This is such a pretty place. This is exactly the kind of place I like to. I encourage people all the time, as our regular viewers know, to attend your local short tracks. The best racing you'll ever see is at your local short tracks. And in the case of this one, what a beautifully well-maintained and pretty place. You guys work hard at this.
Yeah, man.
Okay, but it scares me. As I was approaching here, I see lots of expensive homes being built. I've seen this happen so many times over the years, and the next thing is they don't like the noise. Are you having any problems yet?
No, not really.
Good. Hopefully the people, in fact, I hope they get to like racing and are glad they live next to a racetrack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the racetrack. First of all, Plymouth Speedway, how long has it been here?
Oh, it was built in the early 50s, and it's been racing here since probably 50, 51, 52, someplace in there.
Well, this is amazing because, as I've already told the audience, that I think I've raced at every track in the Midwest, and somehow this one missed me. Tell me about it. Looks bigger than a quarter.
Yeah, it's a 3/8 asphalt bank track.
Bank track with an X in the center for some figure eight racing.
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay, because I assume, like all tracks, you guys have to do some of the gimmick stuff in order to pay the bills, I guess.
Yeah. We do. We try to do outlaw figure eight races once a month, and we have regular racing all summer long, each Saturday night.
Okay, Saturday night. So your regular thing, not the gimmick stuff, but your regular thing.
Right.
What do you guys run here?
Late models, street stocks, sportsmen, mini stocks, and front wheel drives.
So am I counting five? Five divisions?
Five classes.
How long have you been working here?
Oh, about 6 years.
Okay, so it's been quite a while. And so every Saturday nights, but you also have some special events, not on Saturdays?
Yeah. Sometimes on Sundays we have a show, crash fest, or demolition derby, rollover contests, school bus races, and that kind of stuff.
Special events?
Yeah, we usually have 2 or 3 of those per year.
You also mentioned you occasionally do midgets.
Yeah. And on Wednesday nights, we have Wednesday Night Thunder. It's the Kenyon Ford Focus USAC midgets.
Those midgets have got to fly out here. This is a big track for a midget.
Yeah.
I would say probably 130 on a straightaway, something like that.
Probably.
Boy, I'm telling you. Well, listen, folks, I'm so glad I found somebody here. I can tell you this is never a disappointment to me going to the local short tracks, but when you find one as pretty, as well kept as this one, it's an extra pleasure. One more thing. When I was trying to find it, I had 10 different people gave me. First of all, it was encouraging that everybody I asked heard of Plymouth Speedway. The discouraging part is everybody gave me different directions on how to get here, but everybody said that it was in Plymouth. And just before I got here, in fact, about a mile from here, said, "Thank you for visiting Plymouth." I says, "Uh-oh, I must have missed it somewhere along." So what are we, just on the outside of Plymouth?
Yeah, a couple mile.
Okay, give us an idea. Somebody said that right just down the road, if I go a little further, is 31.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably the easiest way to get here would be for people in the Chicagoland area, would be to take 30 to 31, go south on 31 to what?
12th Road.
12th Road, is that
Yeah.
what the street sign out there
Yeah.
would be? 12th Road, and then you make a right and you're probably 100 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope we're clear on that. Like I say, just a beautiful, beautiful racetrack. And once again, the way this all started was the fellow that owned it stopped by the Rock on Thanksgiving, last Thanksgiving, and told me about the place and mentioned something else. Oh, we didn't even talk about it. He mentioned something else they do here. A Thanksgiving Day race, regardless of what the weather is.
New Year's.
On New Year's. I'm sorry,
New
New Year's.
Year's,
See, this is why I needed you. He didn't know why I needed him. This is why I need all the help I can get. I'm old. On New Year's Day, you know, you could have 4 inches of snow.
Yeah.
They run anyway.
Yeah. Unless it's a complete blizzard or something like that.
But just normal snowfall or ice or whatever, you're gonna. So this is a place to come on New Year's and stay sober.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. Maybe we can get out here with our camera this coming New Year's. That sounds pretty cool to come and attend a race on New Year's Day at Plymouth Speedway, just outside of Plymouth, Indiana.
That sounds pretty cool. But here's something even cooler. Bill talked Lauren into letting him take a lap of the track.
Lauren was a nice fellow. He gave me permission to take a lap around the racetrack. By the way, looking there to the left, I see that's where they've got the scales. So this is a pretty sophisticated setup here. They've got scales for weighing the total weight of the car, and I also see they have the scales there for weighing right to left and all that. So that's cool. And I see over there in the corner, I don't know how much the audience can really see, but they've had the gimmick races too, where they've got the you know, people towing a boat and they race them, and people towing a travel trailer and motorhome racing and all that. And that's the debris left over, the ones that didn't quite make it, I guess. In fact, there's a pile of boat debris of someone that really didn't make it. And of course, he mentioned the school bus races they have. Like most racetracks, is they've got the gimmick races along with their serious stuff. I was saying before that this track really reminds me of O'Hare Stadium because of the X in the middle, I guess, but also the layout. The banking seems about the same as O'Hare was. This is bigger. This is a 3/8 mile track. O'Hare Stadium was a 1/4 mile track. But it somehow looks the same. It's got the same feel as far as I'm concerned. I'd have to see them race on it to see if it had kind of the same racing technique. O'Hare, as far as I was concerned, was one of the best asphalt short track I've ever seen, because guys like Gene Marmer and Lutz and Martinelli and Johnson, they were so good at the passing technique of giving a guy a nudge without crashing him, moved him up a lane and went by underneath, and somehow the track seemed to reward aggressive but still driving with integrity. It was really O'Hare. For those that didn't know about O'Hare Speedway, it was right on Mannheim Road, just a little south of O'Hare Airport in Schiller Park. I was there for many years. It's where I started my stock car racing back when I was 17 years old. And the big stars there at the time were Gene Marmer and Bill Lutz and Martinelli and Johnson. And I hope I'm not, in fact I am forgetting a lot of guys, but I'm old, I can be forgiven. Anyway, good bank in here, good bank to lean on. It looks like from the marks on the ground, it looks like low is the right way to get around, but it looks like a lot of guys run in the middle too. So I'm guessing there'll be some good passing here too. Now let's take a look at that X in the middle. Now this again is used for those gimmick races where the racers end up crisscrossing in between. It can cause some tremendous accidents and of course a lot of action for the fans. And I was just telling Lauren that when they had the X at O'Hare Stadium too, and when we raced Volkswagens there, one of the things they did in order, because the Volkswagens were small and didn't have a lot of power for the track, but one of the things that they did was sometimes they ran them on ovals, but sometimes they did like a little road race course. I'll show you what I mean. You come down a straightaway like this through the front of the crowd, just like you normally would expect to do. You come down here, you go into turn 1, just as you normally would on any oval track, coming into turn 1. And now about the time you'd be hammering it to try to get a good drive off the bank and get up onto the straightaway, except what they would do is they'd use part of the infield, and you'd have to turn into the X right here with the Volkswagens, and then, unheard of for oval track cars, then make a right turn and take this part of the X out back onto the big track again, making it kind of a road course. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an ideal layout. It was exciting for the spectators, and as a driver, I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I think everybody kind of liked it. It's a shame that was towards the end of That was towards the end of O'Hare Stadium's existence. Really a shame. Like all the tracks that we've lost, I think it's very, very sad. Anyway, that's it. Plymouth Speedway, Plymouth, Indiana. I'm going to have to look on the map. For people like me that don't get going until 4 and 5 in the afternoon, I suppose it would be hard to get here for the evening, but I'll bet if you left at 8 in the morning from Chicago, you can get here for the evening's races. I'm going to have to check on the map and see if that, see how that works out. Of course, like I say, for me, I'm going to have to leave the day before. I must say once again, I cannot tell you how impressed I am with how nice they keep these grounds. It really is nice. It's more like a country club than a racetrack. Somebody does a lot of work. I assume that a good portion of it is Lauren. He seems like the kind of guy that takes his work seriously. I noticed when he was mowing and everything, he was very careful. He didn't miss anything. It wasn't just putting in time. He was taking nice care of the place. And you can see as you look around the whole place, all the buildings are nicely painted. There's no peeling paint. It's really quite nice. Really quite nice. Well worth the effort to come here. I'm glad I did it. Nothing like a racetrack out in the country to get my soul stirring. I absolutely love it.
Bill says there is a real joy going to a local short track out in the country, and I think I see what he means. After checking out Plymouth Speedway, he got back on Route 30 and headed east. It took several hours, but as the shadows were getting long, he spotted a sign indicating the exit for Mid-Ohio. He took the exit and started making his way to Vintage Days.
All right, I'm off of Route 30, and I'm pleased to say that there was actually like an official looking state sign saying Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio meaning the Mid-Ohio sports car course where we're going. I'm very pleased to see that. It makes it a lot easier. When I was here a roll 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was, I had a heck of a time finding the place, which, as big as it is, I'm embarrassed to say it was hard for me to find. So I'm glad to see that they're giving some indication of where it is with some signage, because it is important. I can see by the number of motorcycles that I've encountered on this road, and also, for that matter, by the way, on 30. You might be interested to know that I rode along for probably about 40 or 50 miles with a guy from Chicago on a Moto Guzzi. I had to stop and get gas, and we kind of parted company, but we talked on and off on the way. And apparently people are coming from literally from everywhere for this Vintage Days here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is a big deal. A lot of people come, so it's very helpful if the state puts up signs letting people know where it is. Now I'm watching again. Now I'm trying to watch carefully because I haven't seen a sign in a while, because it wasn't directly onto this road. I've made 2 or 3 roads, but all the time with the sign saying Mid-Ohio. For the moment, until I see another sign, just kind of enjoy the countryside. We should be very close. some of these hills will take your breath away. I'm kind of surprised. I've just gone for hours and hours across the state of Ohio, and I can tell you it was beautiful, beautiful farms and all that, but flat as a board, reminding me of Illinois and Indiana. All of a sudden, there's another Mid-Ohio sign. Good, good. I'm pleased to see that it's marked so we can find it. But all of a sudden, we've got beautiful rolling hills here. Very nice. There's a sign there to look out for Amish carriages. Certainly I will. I must be getting closer. I can tell by the number of bikes I'm encountering. By the way, for those that were with me on the last motorcycle road trip to Sweetwater, Tennessee, I've already introduced you to the concept of keeping an eye on the fuel. I'm going to tilt my head down. As you can see, my fuel gauge, we're into the red now. So I'm pretty much, I need fuel. So I want you to split that out along with me. There's another sign. Mid-Ohio, 1 mile to the left. Very, very helpful. Very helpful. Oh, that's cool. Well, I hope we'll have time to inquire about that. I don't exactly know where to go here, but we'll see. I see over to the left here, it must be a camping area because I see lots of tents, lots of campers. That looks like the main gate. I remember this from several, whatever it was, I'm going to have to look back. I think it was 2006, the last time I was here. And I approached from the other side because I remember making a right turn to get into the place, and here I've got to make a left turn. And this is the main spectator entrance, gate 1. So this is the one. Okay, this looks like the right place, Mid-Ohio. And it may be that they're closed today because it's already, it's 6 o'clock our time. That'll be 7 o'clock their time, I guess. Well, I guess I'm going to have to find out.
Bill, 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 You've just got to start getting going earlier. I think I already know what the answer's going to be. Let's see what he found out.
All right, this is very typical Bill Wildt. Getting here too late. Everything is done for the day. Just ran into, if you remember the show we did from Sweetwater, Robin, the fellow from Zion, right up ahead. That's his red truck. I couldn't believe it. He pulled up next to me. He too has just arrived. And we heard them telling somebody else that's trying to get back in. They've already been in, but they're trying to get back in to go to gate 3. So just for the heck of it, we're going to take a look at gate 3. But I have a feeling if you don't have a wristband or whatever already, that you have to wait till tomorrow morning. They said everything starts again tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you know, for me, that's murder, because I'm not going to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, that's for sure. Yeah, let's see, if we kind of blow right by here like we know what we're doing, it's possible we can get through, but I don't think so. Looks like they do have a guy up there. It reminds me of my racing days when I would show up and practice was over and they're out there qualifying and I'm begging to get into the gate quick so I can get unloaded and at least qualify. Things never change. I see what Robin's trying to do. He's trying to sneak his way up there. We have to think seriously about that gas thing.
Of course, the information was the same at this gate. It opens again at 7 a.m., sir. Unless you're camping and have a camping pass, you'll have to come back tomorrow.
Well, as it turns out, apparently everything is over today, and that's why everybody's leaving. Do it your way now. I forgot this on camera. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is take care of my gas problem first. Except I just spotted something.
Bill is easily distracted. Instead of heading right for a gas station, he noticed a bike that interested him.
Well, folks, as I've just explained, once again, Bill Wildt has arrived too late, at least today, for any of the activities, because apparently it's all closed up now. This poor guy was standing here, and I says, I've got a victim. I'm going to grab him, and we'll try to understand what's going on here. First of all, you are?
Gary Deering.
Where are you from, Gary?
Richmond, Indiana.
How long a ride is that?
About 3.5 hours.
Okay, you didn't ride this here.
No, he pulled it on a trailer.
Okay, well, what caught my attention was that I was a professional flat track from 1970 to 1975, and during that period, Yamaha tried real hard to compete with the XR750 Harleys because they had one of the world's greatest riders in Kenny Roberts. And when I spotted this thing, I saw the paint scheme. Now, the paint scheme should be yellow and black, and for some reason it's red and black, but the design is the same as Kenny Roberts' bike. Tell me about the bike. What have we got here?
It's a 1981 XS650 Yamaha.
That's right, and these were a vertical twin, an overhead cam vertical twin, but I believe they were 2-valve per cylinder, weren't they?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a 4-valve engine.
No.
That's right, and believe me, folks, Kenny Roberts' group went through all kinds of effort. These things made plenty of horsepower. They were easily the match for the Harley-Davidson horsepower. Problem was, They're such light flywheels that every time you grab a handful, it'd be spraying the fence with dirt and going sideways. It was hard to control the power, and that was always the problem that they had to solve. They went as far as milling out the crankshaft's, filling them with lead, and welding a metal plate around them to try to put some weight in that crankshaft. Did you know all that history?
No, I did not.
That's right, and of course they had a 750 kit for them to meet the rules.
Right.
Okay, I understand you bought this bike here.
Yes, 2 years ago at the auction.
Okay, so you come here pretty often.
This is my 4th year.
4th year. Okay, tell me and tell the audience what's going on here. I can't quite figure it out. There are some people here for races, some people here for swap meets, but the thing that interests me is the number of guys like yourself that are just here with interesting bikes.
We've just got old bikes, and it's a place where everybody can get together and just ride their bikes around.
So it's no formal thing or anything like that. The formal thing is more the racing and the swap meet.
Right, yes.
Well, I guess tomorrow I'm going to find out. Now, is there anything I've missed about your bike that I understand you're waiting for somebody right now?
Yeah, a buddy of mine, he couldn't come down earlier, so I'm standing here just waiting on him.
Okay, he probably doesn't know it closed this early. I mean, this is really early, I think.
He's got his ticket. Matter of fact, here he comes.
Your buddy? Okay, I got to let him go. His friend is here. Thanks for spending a little time with us.
After leaving the track, Bill got some gas and headed west about 10 miles to the town of Galleon, the closest motel room he was able to find. Apparently, all the motels are full during vintage days. In the morning, he woke up early, eager to get back to the track.
I'm not sure of what the old comedian's name used to say, what a revolting development this is. But all I can tell you is what a revolting development this is. This morning what woke me up was the sound of crashing thunder and lightning across the sky. It's let up a little bit right now, but when I say let up, I'm telling you it is still pouring. And this, by the way, and by the way, my apologies for the pictures. I got the camera in the motel room with the door open, and I'm standing just so the rain is just getting on the back of my collar here just a little bit, and I'm sure I'm just a silhouette. But I wanted to give you an idea of the rain that we're having here today, and I just been watching the weather all morning, and apparently we're going to have storms all day with the threat of hail and all the rest of it. I remember hearing something on the news few days ago where they're calling this 2009 summer the bummer summer, and it sure seems that way. We can't seem to get everything we do, we're getting in between rainstorms, and today's an example. Believe it, right now, as hard as it's raining, it's let up so that I could shoot this piece. And this is one of the things that makes me nervous when I leave the bike out. I've commented several times, I don't know how they're doing it. In fact, maybe I shouldn't even say anything because I haven't tried to start it yet, but I don't know how these motorcycles, it's like if you had the hood of your car open sitting in the rain all night. I don't know how these things actually run. I don't know how they're doing it. But I'll tell you something, they've done a great job getting these things to run, but it makes me nervous. And I'd really like to have a cover to throw over it. As a matter of fact, across the parking lot here, there's 4 bikes over there. Two of them have one cover pulled over it. The problem with the covers is they're bulky, and space is really at a premium when you're on a motorcycle road trip. Pretty much everything is filled up without adding a cover to it. I'm going to have to talk to my friends out at J.C. Whitney. Sometimes they surprise me on these hard bags. These things are just great. Sometimes maybe they've got something. The problem is for a small crotch rocket or something like that, a half cover is pretty cool. It doesn't take up much space and everything, covers half the bike, but it's sort of like an umbrella on the bike to keep everything off the engine. Problem is when you've got windshields and bags and all that, I think even a half cover is going to be too bulky to carry. Anyhow, I'm going to get a hold of them because this makes me crazy every time we run into rain like this. And I'm telling you, or at least it was earlier, it was pouring. It's still raining pretty heavy right now, but it was pouring. And it looks like it's going to rain all day. And I'd really like to be able to protect the bike or at least keep the water off of the engine at night when you're sleeping in a motel and you don't realize it and it's raining all night. Anyway, don't know what I'm going to be able to get in today. What a shame. This is a vintage days that we're here for, and I really want to talk to some of these guys with these great vintage motorcycles. And if it's possible, what I had in mind is I kind of wanted to give people a little idea of the technical development of motorcycles over the years. And this is like a perfect place to do it. What a shame that it's raining.
Uh-oh. Now what?
We'll have to find out next week, Amber, because we're out of time with only enough left to acknowledge the fine work of our award-winning production team, including Tom McGrady, Art Lauschat, our webmaster Frank Barbalese, and Sue Cassanda. Special thanks to JBTV's Jerry Bryant. Music is created for us by independent artists Roger Pauley and Jerry Herbert. Of course, we have to take a moment to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Janine Lauschat, May Shin, Amber Alvarado, and our host, Bill Wildt. Me, I'm Samantha Bentley, wondering what Bill is going to do about this revolting development. I bet he'll think of something. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wildt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grant Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, we'll find out how I handled this revolting development. The bummer summer of 2009 continued trying to spoil the fun, but Motorsports Unlimited is made of tougher stuff than that. Remember, we're the folks who taped a snowmobile program in the pouring rain standing in 4 inches of water. I think we can figure out how to show you some important motorcycles. Check it out next week on Motorsports Unlimited.
So that's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited and the lovely ladies of motorsports. And be with us next week because we'll have something real exciting. Bill Wildt's going to have the lovely ladies, and just about anything can happen right here on Motorsports Unlimited. Every week at this time, we bring you the best in motorsports. So be seeing ya. Bye-bye, and keep on rocking.